Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news, and update show. Now we're getting to the end of the season. Now we're getting into the summer transfer window. I am looking to bring back our evening live streams. I've done a lot of live streams earlier on, but transfer window opens. I reckon throughout the transfer window, once it gets going, there'll be a 11:30 a.m. midday live, and there'll definitely be like a 6 o'clock live stream as well, by the way. But we got some news to talk about. There's quite a lot of stories coming in. Interesting updates on Cherki, by the way. I'm going to get into that later on. An update on Leroy Sane, but don't think there's much in it. Marcus Rashford, 40-minute exit, but not to Villa, potentially. Amarin plans recruitment. Jason Wilcox plans for 18 to 20-year-olds. Alvaro to Madrid. Franco Mastantuono. Madrid in for him. Madrid have just signed Huijsen. They've already got Trent. Madrid are on the map one. They're like... They got knocked out and humiliated by Arsenal, and they're losing the Liga to Barcelona probably. So they're on a mad one. But the main update is on the injuries. We're going to talk about the biggest injury boost in regards to Aiden Heaven, but we've got updates on Euro, Matthias de Ligt, and more. That is the big story. We've got Chelsea tomorrow. Does anyone else keep forgetting we play Chelsea tomorrow? Like, I was like to one of my mates, oh yeah, I'm not doing anything Friday evening. Let's do something. Because I never do anything Friday evening because there's never football on. That's my day to go out. And I was like, oh, Man United are playing. Man United playing. So yeah, we're going to get into that news. We're going to get into those stories. But guys, if you do enjoy today's live show, feel free to hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new, as I'm going to get back into the live stream grind. And let's get into it. So, this is the confirmed squad. This is the confirmed squad ahead of the Chelsea game. Another Bender, Heaton in goal. Does anybody care? No. Mazraoui, Maguire, Lindelof, Aiden Heaven, Fredrickson, Luke Shaw, Dorgu, Amas. Aiden Heaven is back. Give him 25-30 minutes off the bench, and if he performs, if he looks ready, start him. If Euro's out, start him in the final. If you're telling me Aiden Heaven or Lindelof, Aiden Heaven. Aiden Heaven is back, people. He's in the squad. And also, another player that's back, Toby Collier. I tell you what, right now, Toby Collier fully fit, Aiden Heaven fully fit. Right now, Toby Collier competes with Agate for that spot, and Aiden Heaven, I would take him over Lindelof, I'd take him over Fredrickson, I'd take him over Luke Shaw. So that's two big injury boosts there for United. The two players I want back the most are Euro and Xerxes, because if we're talking Europa League finals, Xerxes over Højlund, Euro over Lindelof, Luke Shaw maybe. But This is a big boost there. Now, a lot of people are talking about the Europa League. We're going to talk about things. I'm thinking Dorgu right wing back, Shaw left wing back, Mazraoui, Maguire, and Heaven as the centre backs. That's what I'm thinking if Euro is not fit. If Euro is fit, probably Mazraoui right wing back, Euro right centre back, Maguire central centre back. Probably Luke Shaw left centre back to not take that risk on Heaven, and Dorgu left wing back. But that's my two options right now. But having Toby Collier back is a big boost. I like Toby Collier. I think he's solid. He did well when he came on versus Arsenal. He's done well in the Liverpool games. I think he's a good kid. The thing with Toby Collier and Heaven is because they've been out a while, like, they're back, but you can't just throw them in and start them in a final. They need a few games to get minutes up, and we've only got one game to get minutes up. Whereas Euro, we're hoping that we can just have him out for a week, put some painkillers in him. He'll be all right to play. De Ligt is one that's probably more of a risk than Euro. Xerxes is one that's probably very unlikely. Xerxes and Delos is unlikely. But that is a big boost coming in there in regards to United, that Aiden Heaven is back. I'm just going to get into the chat, and then I'll get into a few other updates. Why no Cheeto in the squad? Because Manchester United were stupid enough not to register Cheeto for the Europa League squad, which meant when Xerxes got injured, our only striker is Højlund. Out of all the YouTube channels, I find this one the best. Thank you, James. Get the Glazers out. I completely agree. Glazers out, Glazers out, Glazers out. The Euro and De Ligt still recovering. Hopefully they're back. No, for the people asking where's Cheeto, we didn't register him. He can't play in the Europa League. That's why. We're going to talk about Cherki in a second. Shane Madrid meeting Huijsen, release clause. Liverpool meeting Frimpong, release clause, yeah. But the problem is when we're 16th in the league and we don't know if we're playing Champions League football, we can't make those moves, really. I think if we were fourth in the league, I think we could challenge. I think Huijsen was going to go Madrid no matter what. But let's be honest, what system is perfect for Frimpong? Amorim's system. Right, I think losing Frimpong to Liverpool is worse than Huijsen going to Madrid, because I think Huijsen was always going to go to Madrid, and at least we got Lenny Yoro. You know, we've got one. There's two generational centre backs, Lenny Yoro and Huijsen. We've got one of them. Lenny Yoro. The only thing I don't like about him is his fitness. Let's hope it's just a one season thing. But Frimpong to Liverpool is a huge blow, because like Frimpong, I don't know if he can play in a back four. I think he'll be good for Liverpool with output. I think if Liverpool get a DM number 6, because Gamba I think will be an 8 next season. If Liverpool get a number 6 that can drop deep and go between the centre backs and allow Frimpong to bomb up and Xerxes to bomb up, with supporting Diaz on the left or Gakpo on the left and Salah on the right, that's an absolute joke, isn't it? Absolute joke. Frimpong would be perfect for Amorim's system, but we're not going to beat Liverpool to him. Even if we could say you're playing in a back 5 with us, you'd be better in a back 5. Right now, sucks to say it, but you're going to choose Liverpool over Man United. One team's won the league, one team's in 16th place. We've got to be realistic with where we're at. Branthwaite is not as good as Huijsen or Yoro. Do you remember when Everton fans were saying that Branthwaite was better than Yoro? And Everton fans were taking the mick out of us for spending 50 million on Yoro because we wouldn't spend 70 million on Branthwaite. Everton fans went, they wouldn't spend 70 million on Branthwaite, so they wasted 50 million on Yoro. Branthwaite ain't even been that good for Everton this season. He ain't even been that good. Let's be totally honest. But anyway, we're going to get back into some more news. We're going to get back into some stories, but we had to start with a bit of a positive update in regards to, obviously, Aiden Heaven, big boost there, and of course Toby Collier. But let's dive into a few more stories and updates coming in on Leroy Sane. I don't think there's much in this story. I think this is a bit of a nothing. I think it's a bit of a nothing story, if I was going to be totally honest with you. But yeah, let's dive into this. Leroy Sane's contract extension with Bayern is still unresolved. A significant gap remains between the player and the club. Sane has multiple Premier League clubs, including Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, Newcastle. Sounds like a good source of information, and by I mean nothing story, I mean I just don't see him coming to United. I think this is true. I think Leroy Sane will maybe leave Bayern. I think Leroy Sane could return to the Premier League. But I don't know if Leroy Sane would go to Manchester United. Something tells me he could go to Arsenal. You know how, like, with Sterling going to Arsenal? Something tells me that they could go for Leroy Sane. I like Leroy Sane, always been a fan of him, but he's sort of on that way down. He's sort of getting to that place where he's not the guy he used to be. He's had injury issues. Like this season, he hasn't been injured as much, but 11 goals, 6 assists in the Bundesliga, it's a decent option. We need quality in attack. Like right now, Leroy Sane starts for us, but he's more of I don't know if he fully suits Amorim's system, and I don't think it's 100% what we need. It could be one to watch if we get a bit desperate towards the end of the window and his contract situation isn't resolved. But something tells me there's not a whole lot in Sane. I know we've got Xerxes, I know we've got Delict, I know we've got Mazraoui, I know we've probably got the boys to bring people to Bayern, but to bring Bayern players to Man United, but we're 16th. Xerxes is good friends of Alphonso Davies. I would love it if Alphonso Davies ran down his contract and joined United on a free, but that wasn't going to happen. I like this comment. Alice, we should test the waters for Arda Güler since he's not really playing. I wouldn't swap Garnacho for Güler, but I would test the waters for Güler, even alone. Real Madrid are looking to bring Franco Mastantuono in. Real Madrid are looking for a big replacement for Rodrigo. They want to sell him. I would test the waters. I would test the waters for Arda Güler. Anyway, let's get into the Cherki news. So I was actually on OneFootball. OneFootball, one of my favourite sites to use, by the way, for football news. Really underrated. So I was on OneFootball, and this is what was said. They said, by the people's person, Ryan Cherki's agent makes contact with Manchester United. And I sort of did a bullet point summary of some of the things that was mentioned in the article in regards to Ryan Cherki. Now, this has come out from the people's person. I think it's quite credible, but also caught offside is who they're sort of quoting throughout this, who are mixed when it comes to reports caught offside. But they did say that United have a concrete chance of signing Cherki this summer. Cherki is keen on a Premier League move, and United and Liverpool among top preferences, apparently. Agents have approached both clubs about a potential deal. Also on the radar, City, Spurs, Newcastle, Bayern and PSG was close to joining Dortmund in January, but the deal fell through. And United apparently ahead of most competitors. Now, I do think Manchester United want 3 attacking additions. I think Cunha, Delap, and they want one more. I would pick Mbeumo over Cherki because Mbeumo's work rate is ridiculous and Amorim's system requires work rate. I would go with Mbeumo over Cherki, but hear me out. Cherki, fantastic player, available for £25 million, absolute baller of a player, has similarities to Xerxes in the sense of the skill and the tight control. I will mention that. I don't think it's if we miss out on him, I don't think it's the end of the world, but I think because he's 25 million, it's a really good bit of business. Liverpool are in for Wirtz, so are Man City, so are Bayern. I think if Wirtz doesn't go to Liverpool, they would definitely look at Cherki. It's one to watch. He will move. He will go somewhere. United are interested. He would be a good addition. But I think court offside you do have to take with that pinch of salt. You know, we've had a meeting with Cherki. We've had discussions with Cherki. We knocked him out there in Europa League. We like Cherki. He's kept our eye. We've got an eye on him, but not loads has been said. Goulat and Rodrigo. I tell you what, there's a lot of talk about Rodrigo going to the Premier League, Liverpool, Manchester United, Arsenal. He's an inside forward more than a touchline winger. And I will say this, Rodrigo, I think, would thrive best at Manchester United in the left 10. I'm going to say that now. He's not going to come to Manchester United. Maybe if we win the Europa League, we could do something crazy. We have a good relationship with Real Madrid, but can't see it happening. Can we trust the Cherki story, Alice? Caught offside, I take with a pinch of salt, but he's sort of linked with every club. His agent taught you are right there. It's one of those where we're in for Cherki, we're looking at Cherki, but I can't tell you how advanced it is. It's one of those where keep an eye on it, but don't take it seriously. The two stories to take seriously are Cunha and Delap. All the other ones are let's keep an eye. There was a story about Inter going for Xerxes, but again, not much in it. Hopefully United aren't stupid enough to let him go to Inter. I don't think Xerxes is going anywhere. We did cover that earlier. Rodrigo would cook in the 10. Important question here. Is Bergvall back for Spurs? I hope not. It's a 50-50, I think. I think that the expectation is he won't be fit, but they might rush him back. The thing is, I think United are looking to rush back Lenny Yoro, and Tottenham are looking to rush back Bergvall, but I don't think Bergvall will be back in time. Tottenham, I think Bergvall has won player of the season for Tottenham, has he? I think he would have won. I think he has won player of the season for Tottenham, but I don't know if he's back. Let me just search Bergvall up and see if he's back. No, there's no updates on Bergvall being back that I know, so don't think so. Just checking that. Xerxes not leaving United is bad news. Are you telling me right now you'd rather Højlund be our striker than Xerxes? Because Xerxes is better. Rodrigo would cook in the 10. Cherki in the EPL is interesting. I would go for Mbeumo over Cherki, but I like him. Cunha deal's the one to watch at the moment. You keep spamming Cunha deal. In regards to Cunha, do you know what's really annoying? Is Real Madrid went in for Frimpong about 4 days ago, and there'll probably be a here we go. Not Real Madrid, sorry. Liverpool went in for Frimpong about 4 days ago, and we'll probably get here we go Liverpool to Frimpong this week. Real Madrid literally entered the Dean Huijsen deal 2 days ago and have already paid the release clause and got an agreement with Bournemouth. They will get here we go for Huijsen tomorrow. It's just one of those where like Real Madrid are probably going to get here we go for Huijsen tomorrow. Liverpool are going to get here we go for Frimpong in the coming days, and we've been working on Cunha for 2 months. Where is the here we go? Look, we're in advanced talks. Romano's basically said for like 2 weeks it's in advanced talks. United are winning the race. I don't know what the delays are. I don't know. I wish I could tell you, but yeah. Mbeumo has covered 367.9 kilometres in the Premier League this season, by the way. Only Bruno Guimaraes has covered more. So get Mbeumo to Manchester United, eh? What a stat that is. Xerxes in the 10 with Cunha, push Bruno back with Agate. Who'd be the number 9? Gyökeres. No, that's not going to happen. He's going to go to Arsenal, isn't he? Semenyo. There is a few stories on Semenyo to Manchester United, by the way, you guys. I'm going to get into the next news topic. But in regards to Semenyo, Manchester United are focusing on Cunha and Delap, but they would like a third attacking addition, and they've looked at Semenyo and they've looked at Mbeumo, and apparently they actually prefer Semenyo to Mbeumo. TalkSport are saying that United have held talks with Semenyo, but the price tag is 70 million, which puts United off because there's no point spending more than 45 million on Semenyo. But Man United are going after Delap, Cunha and Semenyo, which brings 3 physical players for a team that has been bullied physically, which is probably what we need. But I would take Mbeumo over Semenyo any day. If I was in charge of the transfer window, we're looking at Aït-Nouri, we're looking at Baliba, we're looking at Mbeumo, we're looking at Jonathan David, and we're looking at Cunha. That's what I'd do if I was in charge of the transfer window, but I'm not. And maybe that would be a shit transfer window. You never know, but I think it would be a good transfer window. So let's continue on into the next few stories. I'm going to do a Europa League preview. I will. But let's dive into the next few stories. So, Rashford eyes UCL exit as Villa yet to decide on 40 million option. So Aston Villa undecided on triggering the 40 million option to sign Rashford permanently. If Villa get Champions League football, which is looking unlikely now, they could trigger this option more comfortably, but because of PSR and all of that, they've only got a certain amount. So do they want to spend 40 million on Rashford and pay his wages? That's the question. Also, does Rashford want to go without Champions League football? That's the other question. But Rashford believes he's got no future under Amorim and targeting a summer move to a Champions League Cup. Manchester United have decided that Marcus Rashford can leave for 40 million. That is the price tag. That is agreed upon. That is the price tag. If any club is willing to give us 40 million, they can have Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford for 40 million pounds is a good deal. You cannot tell me that Rashford isn't worth 40 million. If I am Barcelona right now, I spend 40 million on Marcus Rashford. I go there, I do it, especially if I'm willing to take a wage cut. He is perfect for Hansi Flick ball. If I was Arsenal, I'd spend 40 million on Marcus Rashford. They're not going to do that. He's not going to go to Arsenal. If I was Chelsea, I tell you this now, Chelsea's number one priority is a left-footed right winger. They've got Sancho there, but Rashford suits Maresca more than Sancho. I think Marcus Rashford for 40 million pounds, he would walk into a lot of sides. I don't know who would go for him, but I think he'd be good at Chelsea. I think he'd be excellent at Barcelona. I think he'd work well at Bayern Munich. I think he'd work well at a number of clubs. I think someone will give us 40 million for Rashford. I think he'd done enough in his loan spell to prove that PSG cameo that he's a player. But I don't think it'll be Villa. I think Rashford's going to go to Barcelona, and I think it's going to be a 40 million move. Yeah. Anyway, Glenn says I'm gutted Rashford's not coming home. We could do with Rashford in the Europa League final. We could really do with him. Question for you guys in chat. So I'm assuming Højlund's going to be the striker and Ahmad's going to be the right 10. Who would you start at left 10? Would you have Bruno at left 10? Or would you play Bruno deeper and have Garnacho at left 10 or Mount at left 10? So tell me if you play Bruno at 10 or you're playing Bruno deeper and you'd rather Garnacho or Mount at left 10. Let me know what you do, because we will do Europa League final talk in a second. But let's dive into some updates on Lenny Yoro. So Amorim said this on De Ligt, Aiden and Yoro. And this is what was said earlier, and we've seen that Aiden is in the squad. So just going to tell you that. I don't know if they're going to be available. We're going to try and push because it is the final matches and there is a final. All the players want to play in that really bad. I don't think they will go to Chelsea, but we have the possibility to have some of them in the final. Aiden Heaven, a few hours after he said that, was in the squad for Chelsea. So could Amorim be bluffing a little bit in regards to Yoro's and De Ligt's injury? Could Amorim be bluffing a bit? I think it's either they don't know with Yoro or they're going to med him up, give him some injections and get him to play. I think that could be the situation with Yoro. But Amorim's saying, you know, we don't know. But a few hours after he said that, Aiden Heaven was back in the squad. Yoro's in the gym. We're really hoping Yoro's back. I feel like if the Europa League was in 3 weeks' time, Yoro and De Ligt would be back. But because it's in a week's time, it's a risk. Thank you very much for the super chat. Rob, always United. Do you think we'll go for a centre-back? Yes, but I think it will be a cheap centre-back. We had a look at a guy called, and I'm going to butcher his name. This is what someone told me behind the scenes, by the way. This has not been reported publicly. Called Konstantin Okularakas, I'm going to say. He plays for Wolfsburg. But again, don't know if we'd push for it. We've looked at a lot of young centre-backs. We've looked at Jonathan Tah on a free. We'd like Jonathan Tah on a free, but it isn't seen as is the most realistic. But we've looked at a lot of young centre-backs. We've looked at Diao, who's playing over in Denmark as well. So it's definitely one to watch, but who knows? I'm trying to see if I can find what I said about. Let me show you who I said about targets are. Bear with me a sec. Okay, this is what I wrote the other month. I think this is what I'm looking for. Because this is when I shared, this was 2 months. This is like 2 months old, this report, I believe. But I said this. Manchester United want to sign a centre-back this summer following the exits of Lindelof, Evans and injury concerns around Leacher. There's also injury concerns around De Ligt, Heaven and Yoro now. Maguire said that contract extended, so he'll be here another year. While they reportedly admire Branthwaite, Inacio, and Lukeba, Schlotterbeck, Huijsen, and Hinkeby, Huijsen's already gone, a younger, cheaper centre-back is more likely. So I think with United, the budget is going on Delap, Cunha, a progressive midfielder, younger, cheaper centre-back. They're targeting someone with pace and ability to defend the wide channels and play out. They're targeting people that are going to help with the build-up issues, but also help with the physicality issues, wide channel defending, and a little bit of pace in regards to centre-backs. Now, the people I spoke to said that the three names that have been scouted are Ousmane Diaw, Koulirakis, and Comazo. Comazo? Is that how you, I don't know how you pronounce his name, who plays for Fiorentina. And what I will tell you is we had scouts at the Fiorentina Betis game, and he's at Fiorentina. He's a 20-year-old centre-back. So they're three names that apparently we've been looking at. I said, with the focus on attacking reinforcements, budget for a big-name centre-back may be limited depending on summer exits, although the budget for a centre-back won't be known until, later in the summer. We also looked at the Ajax youngster, Jorofi Mukio, but with us signing Aiden Heaven, do we want another young left centre-back? We'd probably want either a ready-made left centre-back or a young right centre-back. Going back to what you said, a lot of you were saying Mount and Garnacho as sub. A few people were saying they'd start Mount in the final. Inacio is one we've had interest in. Same with Tar. I think Tar will go to Bayern. I think Inacio could be a bit expensive, but he's very light for Leicester as well. Euro is in. Hopefully Euro will be fit. There's a feeling behind the scenes that they think Euro could just about make it for the Europa League final, but that's unconfirmed yet. Would I get Jonathan David in? Absolutely. Can we win the Europa? Absolutely. But it's not going to be easy. I might do a video on more Alice tonight about the Europa League final. I think that'd be a good video to make. Anyway, let's continue on into some more news and stories, because I've got a few things that I want to discuss in today's stream. Obviously, going through injuries, going through updates, going through news. But Melissa Reddy spoke about a few things in regards to Manchester United's transfer priorities. So, Amorim is targeting players with technical versatility, comfort in possession-based heavy system, dynamism and ball progression, particularly important that bit, high durability and elite conditioning means doesn't get injured, and strong mentality. We need mentality, we need availability, we need players that can progress the ball, we need players that are comfortable in possession, heavy systems, we need technical players, but we also need physical players that can cope with the demands of the Premier League, because I think that is our biggest problem. Aims to reshape the squad with profiles built for modern demanding football. Demanding football, physical profiles are important. Semenyo ticks that, Delap ticks that, and Mbeumo ticks that, Cunha ticks that, absolutely fine. Questions over Cherki, but we'll see. She said that United want to avoid expensive mistakes in the market, and they're cautious about signing only potential base players. They need immediate difference makers. Selling well remains the key focus this summer. Jason Wilcox is leading to push and strengthen the talent pool age 18 to 20, which is good. But there's no point signing a load of 18 to 20-year-olds if the players between 23 and 30 aren't good enough, because we need them to mould into a good environment. The reason Manchester United have been so good at developing youth in the past is because they come into a stable environment. Squad teaks expected, but the focus is on long-term building. I'm all for long-term building. I'm all for bringing in more young gems, more talent like Christopher Vivel has been doing, but we need to make sure we get good players that are experienced in, so we can create the best environment for the young players to develop and reach their potential. I will mention that. But we're looking to sell well this summer. This is a focus. We're looking to buy the right kind of players. It's about building for the future. It's about young players. We don't want to make expensive mistakes. Of course, things to include. Amorim, again, sorry, forgot to add this earlier, also mentioned that with Lenny, Euro, and Matthijs de Ligt, he doesn't want to rush them back into the Europa League because he wouldn't want them to be injured for next season, and he is thinking ahead of next season, but he would like them to be fit for the final, going back into that point as well, by the way. We got everybody, let's go for 200 likes. We got everybody tuning in. There's Qatar news resurfacing, but it's a load of BS, I'm 99% sure. Wharton I'd love, but 80 million asking price looks like it. I think it could be 100 million, particularly if they're in Europe next season and win the FA Cup, which I do want them to win the FA Cup as well. Who is the Lenny Euro level talent? Well, Huijsen probably. Lenny Euro for me is like the Lamine Yamal of centre-back talents. For me, he's unreal. Maybe I'm hyping up a little bit. Alice, you look at Spurs injury update, it can be good news for us. In regards to Tottenham, they've got no Maddison, no Berthel, and no Kulusevski, who are their three best midfielders. A Benteke Basuma star midfield is not very good. But we might have a Maguire, Lindelof, Luke Shaw back three. So against Mickey van der Ven and Romero. So yeah, unless Mickey van der Ven and Romero does something, we still are in trouble. We need our defence fit. And Solanke loves to fire against Man United. That's what. Do you know what? Slanky worries me, and the defense worries me. But the midfield, we should be able to do well. Cunha or Semenyo Cunha. Yeah, Kabassi again, good option. Okay, let's go into some other names. Melissa Reddy said that Amron's recruitment isn't just about big names or expensive signings. She emphasises the 17-year-old talents finishing contracts, bring them in, as we look to do with the guy from Le Havre, as we look to do with Diego Leon, etc. I mean, he wasn't actually finishing his contract. They basically want to use the Man United brand to attract young players and believes that recruitment should be focused on youth. If we finish 16th in the league and we don't win the Europa League and we don't have European football, it will have to focus on the youth recruitment because we're not going to be able to bring in people who are at their best because we're not in Europe. So that's what it is. I want to dive into a few other stories. Marca have said that Real Madrid are working to sign Alvaro Fernandez from Benfica. He's got a 50 million euro release clause, but United have an 18 million euro release clause. But Fernandez would rather go to Real Madrid than Man United. Shock horror. But Man United could trigger back his 18 million buyback clause. But what we do know is I think if Madrid bought him for 40 million quid, I think we would get about 8 million quid because I believe, and I don't know if this is true though, but I believe I've read somewhere that we do have a 20% sell on. So even if we don't bring back Alvaro for 14 million quid, which I think we should because I think we need another wing back, we could make maybe 8 million quid extra from him going to Real Madrid. We sold him for 5 million, by the way. We can now buy him back for 16 million quid. I'd do that, but apparently he wants Real Madrid. The deal includes a sell-on clause apparently of 20%, but that has not been confirmed. But Madrid are interested in Alvaro Fernandez. And other updates are saying that Madrid have now officially made contact for Franco Mastantuono, who's had interest from United, Chelsea and PSG, but apparently is waiting for Real Madrid. So that could be one target in Mastantuono to Madrid and one player that we should be bringing back to Madrid. Wharton is overpriced and not ready. Ederson and Still are solving midfield issues. Ederson and Still together work well together, but just Ederson on his own with Agate would not work. We're missing our best defender. Leach is out until December probably, which is a shame. Would you swap Euro for Rodrigo? Nope, I would not actually. And I like Rodrigo, but I think Euro is that kind of guy in 2 years' time where we'd accept 120 million bid from Real Madrid for him. Like, he's that kind of guy. You know, Real Madrid want to get rid of Rodrigo. They wouldn't want to get rid of Lenny Yoro. I'll tell you that. And that tells you why you need to keep Lenny Yoro, because Real Madrid are absolutely smart. Dean Huijsen to Real Madrid is basically a done deal, yes. Basically a done deal. Do you think Newcastle will sign Delap? Probably not, because Isak plays up top for them. So I think Delap will think of minutes. He's not going to start with Isak. What did you think of the Premier League Team of the Season shortlist? The fact that McAllister wasn't on it or Tonali wasn't on it was a joke. Do you think we'll sign 5 players? I think we'll sign 5 players, yes. I think we'll sign 3 good players and a few less good players. I think it will be mixed. I think it depends on sales, and I think it depends on Champions League football. Anyway, I wanted to keep this live show short and sweet. So big up everybody for tuning into today's live show. Thank you for watching. Bye.